All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll give you the injury update here. Boogie Basham, Tywan Jones, Jordan Poyer, Stephon Diggs will not practice. Stephon Diggs with an illness, Jordan Poyer knee, Boogie Basham calf, and then Tywan has a hamstring. And then Mitch has been cleared from the concussion protocol, and then we will open Christian Benford's window today, starting today. So with that, I'll turn it over to you. Yeah.
How do you look at just how the Bills Foundation made a big donation today?
Yeah.
And just the recovery process, and just from your point of view, how difficult it was seeing how much this community went through.
Yeah. Yeah, difficult situation, difficult circumstances. Great to see that money, that contribution going to a good cause and helping the people of Western New York and everyone affected by the storm.
Hey, Sean, what do you see in the Bengals' pass defense? They've been really pretty good. The opposing passers, only one guy's top 300 all year against them.
Yeah.
What do you see in that particular unit?
No, they do a really good job. I think Coach Lou does a phenomenal job. Their defensive coordinator, and I've admired his work for a number of years. Very smart in his approach, and they've got continuity on that side of the ball where they've been together for some time, so that helps the rapport that they've built, and they got talent across the board as well.
Are they a team, Sean? I know all teams mix it up throughout the game. Are they a team in particular that maybe does a little bit more mixing in different looks and disguises?
Yeah, I would say most teams are multiple these days. But like I said, what they do is, very creative, and they affect protections with some of the looks they give you, and they give you different looks up front, 5-down look, and so on and so forth. So they do a good job there.
This was I realize how the storm affected the team is not significant compared to the people in the community, but did the storm affect your week, aside from the fact you got in late on Sunday? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, were they what they would have been for you? Or
We had to shuffle things around a bit compared to what we had initially planned coming out of the Chicago game, initially going into the Chicago game, and then coming out of it with the not being able to get home there for a little bit. So we shuffled things around and we make it work.
So when players were going to be off Monday, Monday was a day off for the players, right? And that's what it was going to be.
I'm not going to get into what it was going to be and what it was, and that's what it was, and so.
You're comfortable just having a 3-day practice window, which is what you would usually have anyway.
Right, yeah.
Sean, how did you feel that Bucker, handled everything coming back?
Yeah.
He didn't play a ton or anything like that. How did you feel that he handled everything?
Yeah, he did a great job. Good to have him out there and seeing him get some action, albeit on mostly the field goal unit team there, but good to have him out there with us.
I know you don't play individual games, but do you sense the magnitude of this one being, it is a huge game for the #1 seed potentially. I mean, do you sense that it is maybe a little bit bigger than your ordinary regular season game?
Yeah, I mean, this is what you work so hard for throughout the the body of the season, is to come down to the stretch here and play these games. We've got a lot of respect for the Bengals. They're the defending AFC champions, obviously, and represented the AFC in the Super Bowl. So, and came within a whisker of winning that game, right? So, it's a good opponent. They won 7 straight.
What do you make of, we've seen Josh go against Patrick Mahomes numerous times, and just the fact that this is the first time Josh gets to face Joe Burrow in a game. I mean, what do you look to see out of that? I know they don't play each other, but out of that matchup, and how intriguing that matchup is with 2 more young stars, facing off against.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to, is two good teams led by 2 really good quarterbacks, and we just haven't played them, which is probably the unusual part a little bit. Like we've played other teams multiple times, we have not played them other than a few years ago. So they're a good team led by Joe Burrow, obviously, and you watch him in college, he's been successful. You watch him now in the NFL, he's been successful. So they got a really strong team.
What makes him so special
Well, again, I haven't gone up against him. This will be the first time, but from what it looks like on tape, extremely smart. Knows everything he needs to know at a young age, right? To be in full control of the offense, gets him in and out of the run game, and does a really good job at the line of scrimmage. And from what I've heard of him and his habits, he's a product of his hard work and everything. So a lot of respect for that.
Sean, you got a lot of production out of the run game in Chicago. Has that become a confidence thing, too, with the offense, both with players and then maybe even in Ken in terms of calling it and everybody being maybe a little more on board as you have more and more success with it?
I think just the element of staying two-dimensional as an offense is important, and our offensive line did a good job of coming off with a good pad level and gave the back some holes, and then the holes made some people, or excuse me, the backs made some people miss in those holes, and and then the receivers were blocking down the field, which is good. So usually when you can get some of those runs out past 8 yards, the receivers are doing their job as well.
Sean, you mentioned that kind of strengths that you haven't faced Burrow yet. Kind of going off that, is there something that you get that's different when you face a quarterback in person versus, there's plenty of tape on him, right? You watch game after game of him. Is there something different, though, that you get as a head coach when you watch someone in person?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no substitute for experience. And again, that's the a little bit unique part, I guess, of this is, they've just haven't been able. We haven't played them. We haven't come across, their schedule. They haven't come across our schedule. So, but again, two good teams that, have earned the right to be here, really.
Sean, just from a human perspective, how much of a relief is it that Mitch was able to get back so quickly from a concussion, considering his history?
Yeah, never take those lightly, and always, defer to that concussion protocol because it is, those are serious, and we take those seriously. So glad that he was able to make it back, and we'll see where he goes this week. Really.
Sean, kind of going off Josh's question here. You've seen the Chiefs a bunch of times. You've seen the Ravens multiple times, the Titans. Like you said, this team you haven't really seen because of the way the schedule fell.
Yeah.
Is there a degree of interest, fun, from the coaching point of view of being able to dig into a team that's really good like this that you haven't really seen before?
Yeah, interest is you're really starting from zero as opposed to other teams that you have faced before. So, the time you got to put in is a little bit more than normal, just to acquaint yourself, get yourself familiar with who they are, who their personnel is, and schematically maybe what they like to do. But they're so strong, and I think Coach Taylor does a great job in putting his players in position. And then, like I said, Lou on the other side is, to me, a really good defensive coordinator, and they've got a good rapport built up there. And so schematically, they're tops in what they do, and then they're led by the quarterback. And really good team in all three phases. Darren Simmons, the special teams coach, has been at it a long time, and he's been in Cincinnati a long time as well. So he's obviously at the tops of his game as well.
How critical is, they've got three receivers legit all over 700 yards, I think. How critical is it going to be for your secondary to hold up this week?
Yeah, you don't come across a team with those three receivers like they have, and the yards that they've built up collectively. That's unique in the NFL, is to have three receivers that have had that level of success over the years. So it's one of the many challenges that their offense presents.
What have you seen from Kyer over the last couple weeks since he's been back? How he handled maybe not playing there for a minute, and then how he responded once he did get some opportunity?
Yeah, he's doing his job. I think that's what you're looking for. Guys that are going to come in and do their job, and when they're asked to, tackle, they tackle, and when they're asked to cover, they cover and make plays on the ball. That's really the job description of a corner in our defense. And know your job, do your job.
Sean, that's never easy for any player, regardless
Sorry.
of experience. Regardless of experience in the league. Kyer seems to be, at least from my perspective, wise beyond his years in terms of maybe, I don't know if it's family rooted or whatnot. Do you notice him handling all the different circumstances that he's been thrown to this season maybe differently than most young players?
Yeah, I would agree with you. The maturity, I think maybe being around the NFL with his family there. I think, he's got great support from his parents, and, he comes from a big program also where, you're not just handed a job, I'm sure, freshman year, and in this case, you're not just handed a job rookie year. You got to earn it, and that's an every week thing. And that's just how we do things here, and I think he's embraced that, and that really is in his DNA in terms of he's an extremely hard worker and a conscientious young man, and wants to do well for not only himself but the team.
With Christian, I know it could be a while with just the 21-day window
Yeah.
starting, but I think you guys only had one game where all four of those corners, Trey, Kyer, Christian, were up, and that was when Trey was on a pitch count. So do you know kind of what that might look like at corner whenever Christian's ready to go? Do you still want to rotate a bunch, or is it
Yeah.
able to say yes?
Yeah, don't know yet. Really focused on seeing how Christian looks as we get started here this week and open up the window, and then really just focused on the Bengals at this time.
When it comes to Josh, I mean, and I think we've covered this on when big games come up like this, how he's made the transition to being comfortable, maybe not comfortable, but confident in big type, on a big stage, and what that means to the team to have your quarterback confident playing in a big type game atmosphere. Just what's that like, and having seen that, how have you seen that transition from
Yeah.
going to getting accustomed to it to now being fully confident?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, that comes from experience and being in those situations, and those really normalizing those situations. And I think that's really what you have to make of it, is you got to prepare, and then when you're in those situations, you got to perform, and Josh has performed in those situations, and but each situation is its own situation as well. So in the competition that you look forward to, and the atmosphere, and all those things, that's what you got to prepare for.
Sean, you talked about Kyer, but I was curious how you feel like Dane and Kyer have been rotating the past two games, how that's been going with that back in the mix. If you feel like that's working, or if you would prefer it to be one guy, but I guess how it's gone mostly the last two games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in you play the best players. So if that means you rotate, you rotate. If that means you have, one player in there in one spot as opposed to two, then that's what you do. So there's no magic formula. The best players play, and it's earned.
Sean, obviously it's important every week, but given the kind of offense the Bengals have, could, get into a shootout, how important, especially is it in this kind of a game for Josh and Steph to be on the same page early?
Yeah, that's big. Like it is with our entire offense, and Diggs is, Steph is a huge part of our offense. And so I know he'll miss today with that illness, so it'll be good to get him back hopefully sooner than later this week, and get him back on the field here. All right, thanks, guys.